Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Sophie Erber.
And I'm Tim Seaman. Governor Pete Ricketts of Nebraska says the state won't suspend the use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That comes after a man from Douglas County suffered a blood clot 2 weeks after receiving the single-dose vaccine.
Governor Ricketts stressing that the coronavirus is still more dangerous than any vaccine side effects. It's our top story now at 6.
Your risk of dying from getting COVID is much greater than a risk of even having one of these incidents. With a 0.06% of the time getting a blood clot as incident versus a little over 1% time, as Felicia was talking about, you're about 16 or 17 times more likely to die of COVID than even having a blood clotting incident. So again, the key message here is all these vaccines are safe and effective.
Despite a handful of recent medical events affecting Nebraskans who received that Johnson & Johnson vaccine, local health officials and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention maintain the vaccine is safe. And after analysis of trial data showed similar rates of blood clots between test subjects who actually received the vaccine and test subjects who received a placebo.
Additionally, as of last Friday, Nebraska has identified more than 230 patients with COVID-19 variants of concern. Those include 187 United Kingdom strain, 48 California strain, and 2 of the Brazilian strain.
We are seeing increasing proportions of the specimens that we're testing. Of the variants that are present in Nebraska, the predominant one is the B117 or the UK strain. And this one is believed to be more contagious and more severe than our standard or the wild type of COVID-19.
Nebraska is now vaccinating all people age 16 and older, and anyone can make an appointment. Just head to the state's vaccination registration website to do so. So far, Nebraska has given at least one shot to about 1 million Nebraskans, with about 430,000 people fully vaccinated.
Almost 600,000 people in the state of South Dakota have gotten at least one dose of the vaccine, and nearly 160,000 South Dakotans have completed their vaccine series. And in Iowa, roughly 1.9 million doses have been administered so far. More than 780,000 Iowans have been fully immunized.
And people 16 and older will soon have another option for a vaccination. Unity Point Clinic locations will be opening up for appointments, both in Sioux City and Sergeant Bluff. That all gets started on April 22nd. Those shots will only be given during certain days and certain time periods, so an appointment is necessary.
Families struggling to pay for burial and funeral costs after losing someone because of COVID-19 can now officially apply for federal financial assistance. FEMA will be reimbursing up to $9,000 per funeral, which happened after January 20th of 2020. Families must show a death certificate listing COVID-19 as a cause of death. It has also happened in the United States. Funeral directors can help answer questions that families might have about this program, but you can learn more through FEMA's website. That is FEMA.gov.
Elsewhere tonight, the Longlines Family Rec Center here in Sioux City will soon have a new tenant. The members of Sioux City City Council have approved a new leasing agreement with the Arena Sports Academy. Some folks had previously expressed some concern that the arena would schedule events conflicting with other tenants already in the building, like the Siouxland Pickleball Association. However, the agreement reached between those groups reassures those folks that the arena will work with the association and others. City Council members also planning to hire a Sioux Falls company to begin designing a pedestrian bridge that's set to run over the Big Sioux River.
Also tonight, the Sioux City Community School Board meeting to discuss the budget of 2022 and upcoming projects for North High School and East Middle School. 2 members of the board are also contending that the district should decrease the local levy rate. Dan Greenwell and Taylor Goodvin propose a rate of $12.48 per $1,000 of assessed value instead of the district's proposed $12.97 per $1,000. Now, KCAU 9's Hannah Adamson will have more from tonight's school board meeting. That, of course, coming up tonight at 10. And while it may not be cold, actually, With the temperature today in Siouxland, the wind certainly made it feel like a chilly start to our work week.
The wind on its own made it miserable. I was out driving this afternoon, and we'll check in with Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson, and this is as gusty a day as I can remember, Scott.
That's right, Tim and Sophie. It looks nice outside. It doesn't actually feel all that great, though, with that wind continuing to be a nuisance in Siouxland. Checking the high temperatures that were achieved today, we're looking at 50s across the board, 55 in Sioux City, 57 Carroll, and 56 the high temperature in Norfolk, Nebraska. But again, the wind is really riled up. We're seeing some gusts between 30 and 45 miles per hour directed in from the west-northwest. It looks like the wind will ease off some tonight, but it will become rather cold as temperatures look to sink into the 20s and 30s. We'll talk about when some warmer weather comes back, along with some rain chances moving toward the weekend. That's in the 9 on 9 forecast. Tim?
You didn't have to be a semi-driver to feel the wind today, that is for sure. A Norfolk man is now under arrest after a shooting that sent 2 teenagers to the hospital on Friday. This is 20-year-old Mark Arias of Norfolk. Victims and witnesses say that he was the shooter in that case. He's been arrested for first-degree assault. The shooting taking place at about 11 o'clock last Friday night at 118 East Phillip Avenue in Norfolk. First responders found 2 boys ages 17 and 14 there that both had been shot. They were hospitalized for non-life-threatening injuries. Arias was located and then booked into the Madison County Jail.
After 52 years of teaching young hairstylists the ropes, the Lamar's Beauty College is closing its doors. The business has been passed down within the family through multiple generations. Owner Todd Anderson says the shutdown is partially because of COVID-19. He says they no longer have enough students to keep the classes running.
I've had a lot of students reach out to me, said that they're very sad that the school is closing, and they had a lot of great memories going to school here.
Anderson says it is bittersweet to see the doors close, but he's ready to focus on his own salon. That's the Man Trap, located just across the street from that teaching college.
10 Sioux City restaurants with downtown partners are holding a special restaurant week. Now, each of those establishments will have a special meal prepared each night over the dinner hours, and downtown partners is set to give away $20 gift cards to participants for all 10 of those restaurants. Now, after having to close doors, of course, during the pandemic, this is just another local attempt to help those restaurants bounce back after a tough year or so.
Some delicious spots. I do hope they bounce back. Well, spring means lots of new baby animals, but it can also mean more rescues for wildlife sanctuaries.
Why more bald eagles are falling ill. And, we'll look at how hunters can help prevent that sickness coming up.
And in weather, it looks like this cool pattern is going to be staying with us for a while, with high temperatures generally in the 50s. Later this week, we have some rain chances dialed up. We'll have a preview of how the weekend is shaping up in your 9 on 9 forecast right after the break.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Tim Seaman, Sophie Erber, Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson, and Sports Director Jake Jones. This is KCAU 9 News at 6.
I certainly do not want to sound like a whiner, but I was beaten about the Head and Shoulders driving back today. I was over by Lakeview.
Yeah,
drove back on Highway 20. And Scott, I mean, it wasn't just an occasional gust.
No.
It was nonstop.
You could feel it in and, of course, outside of the car. One of those days where you kind of got to be careful shutting your car door, or it might shut before you want it to. But things are dying down, hopefully.
It's true. A very persistent wind out there today. We've had some gusts between 30 and 45 miles an hour. It looks like the wind is going to die off some tonight, but it'll be back in full force for Tuesday. So hopefully you're prepared for the wind to make a return tomorrow. Here's the view outside now from the Ho Chunk Center camera in downtown Sioux City, where the camera is still bouncing around a little bit due to that strong breeze that we have in from the west-northwest. But at least we can appreciate the sunny skies that have been with us for the majority of the day. The temperature now in Sioux City is at 53 degrees, so just above the soil temperature in Woodbury County, which is measured at 51. There you can see that we have a sustained wind of get toward the weekend. 58, the high temperature Sunday, mostly sunny skies. That's looking pretty good. We'll be in the 60s, but only for one day next Monday, and then it looks like we'll slip back into the mid-50s next Tuesday and Wednesday. We have a great picture to share with you tonight, as we do almost every night here on KCAU 9 News, and today we have a beautiful sunset, thanks to our viewer for snapping that picture and sending it along to our website, SiouxlandProud.com. You just go to the weather tab and head down to send us your photos. Tim and Sophie?
Looked like that one was on fire almost.
It really did. I love those warm
Bright
weather
orange.
looking ones.
Absolutely. Well, the average U.S. price of regular grade gasoline held steady over the past 2 weeks. $2.94 is what we're told per gallon.
Some good news there. That is 93 cents higher, though, than it was a year ago. Experts tonight say prices at the pump are likely to remain stable or drop as wholesale costs begin to decrease. The highest average for a gallon of gas was found in San Francisco, California at $3.99. Here in the state of Iowa, we're just below the average at about $2.76 per gallon.
Bald eagles are the symbol of our nation, but at this time of the year, more of those majestic birds are getting sick.
What's making them ill, and also what can be done to prevent them from getting sick, coming up. Bald eagle deaths from lead poisoning are on the rise tonight.
And a rescuer tells us that many of these can actually be prevented, those illnesses, if hunters would just be more conscious of the ammunitions that they use, something we've heard before.
Absolutely. Here as well in Siouxland, Carlos Sosa has more.
Deborah Yager is the CEO of Hog Capital Wildlife Rescue and Rehab, and she's rescued multiple bald eagles from lead poisoning. One of them was Miss Majestic, who was rescued from someone's backyard off Route 91.
She had really bad neurological illness from the lead poisoning. Her head was tilted completely upside down.
Ed Britton is the district manager for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife with the Upper Mississippi River National Wildlife and Fish Refuge, and says this is the time when they see more injured bald eagles.
Particularly in March, we pick up a lot of eagles, both dead, sick, and injured eagles. Really see an uptick in the number of eagles with lead exposure and poisoning when deer hunting starts.
Bald eagles are scavengers and hunters. In a study that was completed in 2014, they were able to see how bald eagles get sick.
When the eagles turn to scavengers, they find these protein piles very quickly. So we put cameras on the protein piles, and we found that multiple eagles would feed on them until every last bit was gone. When they looked at the amount of lead that they had in their system, some of them was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times the amount of lead that would have killed an eagle. And a piece of lead fragment as small as a piece of rice, if ingested by an eagle, it is enough to kill it.
Yager says she hopes hunters become aware of the ammunition they use when hunting.
They need to be aware of what kind of ammunition they're using. And if they're going to be using lead ammunition, I know it's hard. I know it makes the deer heavier, but please don't leave the field dress behind.
ISU Extension offices across Iowa will be showing their thanks to their communities this week in some creative ways.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy way. Extension and Outreach Week began yesterday, and all 99 of Iowa's counties are now planning different fun activities that folks can participate in.
And you can find out what activities Woodbury and Plymouth counties have planned for this week in our digital exclusive story posted on our website right now with the address on your screen or the KCAU 9 mobile news app.
Jake joins us now, and I hope there wasn't a track meet where they were throwing the javelin because it ended up a couple counties over.
That would be very dangerous, Jake.
I don't even think they throw javelin in Iowa high school track and field.
Too bad.
So I think we're safe. I mean, I'll have to double check on that one. Might be one in the back studio, I don't know. The Briarcliff women's soccer team made some history today. I'll tell you guys what they did coming up next in sports.
So a beautiful day on the campus there. The grass has really greened up, so our sunshine over the weekend seems to have helped. What you can't see is how windy it is.
Right, the wind is still kind of bothersome out there, and it's still going to be the case tomorrow, too, I think. We'll still have some gusts between about 30 and 35 miles per hour on Tuesday. You can see some rain icons there as we approach the weekend. Best opportunity coming Friday. Highs mainly in the 50s.
Saw a few bicycles go by a minute ago. Hopefully they don't get blown over.
Right.
We'll see you, Tim.
Good night.